Hi everyone, my name is Cassie and welcome to my channel, Bookish 4 Eyes. Today I'm doing a big unhaul video. So, as you may have heard on my other videos, I mentioned that my husband and I will be moving to Nashville at the end of July. But we've lived in New York for 2.5 years and I've accumulated some books while we've been here, and there's some books that I brought over before. So now that we're moving and there's a good opportunity to get rid of some extra stuff, I figured why not do a book on haul, because there's some books that have been sitting on my shelves for forever and I haven't picked up, so now's the perfect time. So let's get right to it. The very first book is the book that I acquired recently, and I actually wanted a Goodreads giveaway, which I seem to be having good success with, knock on wood that continues. But this book is Emergency Contact by Mary H.K. Choi. I gave this book 3 out of 5 stars, and it's your basic kind of YA contemporary romance. It didn't blow my mind, it wasn't incredible, but it was just a solid romance, I guess, like a fluffy read. It's not something that I would ever reread, so I'm probably going to get rid of it just because I'm sure there's people out there who would like to read it more than I do, and I'm not too keen to hold on to it at this point. This next book is a non-fiction and I genuinely really enjoyed it, but I just don't know that I will ever go back to rereading it, and this is Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil. This takes place in Savannah and it's, you know, a true crime kind of story, so it was very interesting and I enjoyed the read, but I just don't know that I would ever pick it up again. And I don't know, I don't really love the cover of it. I feel like if it had a nicer cover, maybe I would be more keen to keep it, but I just don't think that I would ever read it again, and it would just be sitting on my shelves forever. This next book I picked up, I think Goodwill forever ago, and I don't even know what it's about, and I haven't ever had the urge to read it, so I think it's the time now to get rid of it. It's the Stone Diaries by Carol Shields. Has anyone read it? If you've read it, please let me know if it's a good book. Maybe I should read it, but I guess this is like a memoir of sorts, so I'm not really sure who she is or what she did. I don't know. I don't even know why I picked it up, honestly. So I guess if you read this particular book, please let me know if maybe it's worth a read. I mean, it is a Pulitzer Prize winner, so I'm assuming it's probably a decent read, but I'm not really sure. This next book, I also picked it up at a Goodwill, and I read it, and it was an alright read. This is called Snow Hunters by Paul Yu, and it's a cute little book, but it's very short, but I don't know that I would ever pick it up again, and I don't know that I would like recommend it to others. I don't know. It was just, it didn't really leave like a memorable mark in my mind after reading it, so I feel like that's a good enough reason to get rid of it. This next book might take you by surprise because I do like feminist books and feminist reads, but I'm not a huge fan of Caitlin Moran and this book, How to Be a Woman. I first read her book, How to Build a Girl or Building a Girl. I can't remember what it's called, but I read that book a while ago and I genuinely didn't really enjoy it. She just talks about herself a lot, like her personal life and her childhood and her upbringing, and to me it's not that interesting. So I don't tend to enjoy those books, and I got this book from a friend and I read it, and you know, there may have been some like funny moments and things, but I highly doubt I would ever reread this book, so I don't see the value in holding on to it. The next one is The Violet Hour, and I actually enjoyed this book, but I don't know that I will hold on to it. This is about a family drama. Basically, there's husband and wife, and they have their children, and the husband finds out that his wife has been having an affair, so he ends up jumping off the boat and committing suicide. I enjoyed it overall. It was well written. I haven't really seen this book anywhere around. I don't know if too many people have read this before, but I thought it was an alright read, and I just don't know that I would ever read it again, honestly. I don't know. Maybe I'll change my mind and decide to hold on to it because it was a decent read from what I remember. Attention anyone who likes family drama books, this might be right up your alley, but this is definitely a contender for a donation. This next is by Anne Martel. It's called Beatrice and Virgil, and I like The Life of Pi, but I haven't really heard anything about this book, and for some reason I haven't had the urge to ever pick this up. I'm not even sure what it's about, to be honest, so I don't know. If you've read this, please let me know if you enjoyed it, if it was a good read. It's not a very long book, so this could be a book that I might hold on to still, I don't know. These next two books I had for a while, and actually I first got them when I just started BookTube, and I was just kind of reading things that were all over the place, and naturally I gravitated towards YA books because they were the most talked about books on BookTube, at least in the videos that I watched and the booktubers that I followed at the time. So it's the Lunar Chronicles, Cinder, and Scarlet. So the first and the second books in the series. And I read Cinder a long time ago, and I read Scarlet maybe like a year or two ago. So I'm gonna get rid of these two books because there's like 2 or 3 more in the series, maybe 2 more, and then like a collection of short stories or something. I'm halfway through. I don't really want to get 2 more books that I know I won't really enjoy. Like Cinder I thought was pretty decent. Scarlet I thought was just very average, and from what I've heard they keep getting less and less interesting as time goes on. And I think the last book's like super long, and there's way more other books that I'm really excited to read rather than these ones. So unfortunately I don't think I'm going to carry on with these. I don't know at this point if I'm just going to get rid of them or if I'm going to try and give them to somebody else who is into YA or like fantasy books, but I don't think that I'm going to be holding on to these. So the next book that I have is Big City Eyes, and actually as I was just like collecting this book as one of the books that I'm gonna donate, I like read the synopsis and it sounded weirdly interesting, so I don't know why I haven't picked it up in like the 2 or 3 years that I've had this book. But basically it sounds like it's about a woman who has a child, and her and her son move to Long Island from the city, and there she meets this man, and things kind of start happening, but there's also an element of like a murder in there, so I don't know, maybe it would be a good summer read. Maybe I should just read it quickly and see what happens. It doesn't look like a very long read, so I don't know, maybe I'll change my mind. If you read this one, please let me know, because that would be very helpful to see whether I should pick it up or not, or whether I should get rid of it or not. This next book you probably would have seen recently, and this is Lucky You by Erica Carter, and this was my 2-star read. It was one of the Book of the Month picks, which I don't know how it got picked, because this book is about nothing and it's just very boring, and there's like nothing happens in it. So I read it and I didn't enjoy it. Like, best case scenario, if I read a book and it was okay, maybe I'd give it to a friend and just say, hey, read this, maybe you like it. But this one, I don't know, maybe there's people out there who do enjoy it. I would just be very nervous to recommend it to a friend, or just be like, hey, take this book, because after they read it they might wonder why I even had it in the first place. So I don't know what I'm gonna do with this one. This book seemed very promising when I first picked it up, but it's been sitting on my shelves for a long time and I still haven't read it, and this is 3 Stages of Amazement. This is about a couple, and I guess they have kids too, so a family that live in a little bungalow in an expensive area of San Francisco, I think, and there's like this big mansion, or like a whole bunch of mansions all around them, and they have like more successful like friends and family, and they feel the pressure of making things work and making ends meet while being surrounded by that sort of thing, and they have a lot of stuff that they're working through. So I think that's kind of the gist of it. I haven't seen anyone talking about it, so I'm not 100% sure what's going on there and whether it's good or bad, but I don't know. I've had it for a while and I never had the urge to pick it up, so I don't know if that's a sign that I should probably get rid of it. I don't know. Last but not least, this might not be a very surprising choice. for a donation, but this is Truthwitch by Susan Dennard. This is a first book in the series, and I heard there's another book that came out, and I heard that the second book wasn't very good. I don't know how many books are out already, but this was at the point when I was willing to give some YA fantasy books a chance. It's before I realized that there's very few YA fantasy books that I would actually enjoy. So I read this one. It was decent as far as those types of books go, but I'm just not keen to carry on with the series, and especially if I've heard that other books aren't as good as this one, I don't know that I'm willing to hold on to it and keep acquiring more books in order to like complete the series. So I'm probably gonna get rid of this one. Maybe I'll give it to someone who I know enjoys YA fantasy, or maybe I'll just donate it, but I don't think I'm gonna be holding on to this one. So that's it for my book Unhaul. Please let me know if you've read any of the books that I have but haven't read and don't know what they're about. It'd be great to know if maybe they're decent reads and I just for some reason haven't got around to reading them. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.